Jury's entering. And the state may call its next witness.
Yes, so people say the floor to call Mark Chapman.
That evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
And you may inquire of your witness.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Sure, Mark Chapman, Chapman.
Okay. And Mr. Chapman, what do you do for a living?
I am a firearms examiner.
Okay. And where do you work at?
I work at the Indian River Crime Laboratory here in Fort Pierce
Okay. And how long do you work there?
since February of 2005.
Okay. And do you also have experience doing tire impression comparisons?
Yes,
Okay. Go ahead and describe that experience to the jury, please.
sure. In October of 1999, I was hired by the Indiana State Police Laboratory in Indianapolis, Indiana, as an IBIS technician. That's a computer database for firearms components. I worked at that capacity until January of 2004, and that's when I began training to become a firearms examiner. And that training lasted until January of 2005. I was hired by the crime laboratory here in Fort Pierce in February of 2005. And I continued as solely a firearms examiner until 2008. And at that point, I was accepted into the footwear and tire track training program. It was over in Largo, Florida at the National Forensic Science Training Center. And the training was provided by Ron Smith and Associates. So an individual from their company came and taught the class. And essentially it was set up with a combination of in-class meetings and then remote working back at the laboratory. So we would meet up for a total of 4 weeks during the whole course. And we went over collection, preservation, documentation, comparisons, and courtroom testimony, all related to footwear and tire track evidence. I think it totaled about 400 hours in all, and in July of 2009, the training was complete. And then before I was allowed to perform casework at the laboratory, I had to be competency tested. So that's basically, I was provided with mock cases essentially that are footwear and tire track related. I had to work the cases and successfully complete those before I was cleared to work actual evidence casework.
Okay. And tire track evidence, go ahead and explain that in a little bit further detail. What is the purpose of that?
So for a tire track exam or comparison, the idea is they're trying to compare an unknown to knowns that are provided. So the unknown would be the track at the scene. So a tire leaves an impression at the scene. It could be in the dirt. It may be on the pavement. That is somehow collected by the agency. And in the process, if it's done properly, they'll photograph the impression if they're going to take photographs of it with a scale in the photograph. And I'll talk about why that's important later. So that's submitted. So that's your unknown. And basically what that means is at the scene, and when it's given to me, I don't know the origin of this tire impression, right? It's just left at the scene. So what the agency will do is if they find a suspect vehicle, typically they would roll the tires themselves. So essentially you would impound the vehicle, and then there's different ways to do it, but the most common way is to get pieces of mat board or like really dense cardboard, and you would ink the entire circumference of the tire, and then you roll the tire across the mat board, and it leaves an impression. It's kind of like a stamped impression, but you're rolling the entire circumference, and you get the impression on the board, and then those boards would be submitted to the laboratory. So I have my knowns. So I have test impressions from the vehicle tires. So we know what vehicle those tire impressions came from. and I'm asked to compare it to the unknown, the photograph from the scene. So what I do is I take the image that's given to me, and with that scale, what I can do is that I can print that photograph life size. So I put it into a photo editing software, and I basically tell it to, if I say this is an inch, then change everything to 1 inch. So when I print it, that tire impression, that photograph of the tire impression is the same size as it was when it was taken at the scene. And this allows me to compare it to the knowns. And those are life size as well. They're taken directly from the tire, right? So what I would do first with a comparison is I'm going to look for class characteristics. And class characteristics are characteristics that I can use to either include that unknown impression or exclude it. With tire, class characteristics would be the width of the tire, the number of ridges and grooves. So ridges is the part of the tire where the tread element exists, and in the space between is the groove. So some tires may have 4 ridges and 3 grooves. Some may have 5 ridges and 4 grooves. And the width of the tire will change. And then the shape of those elements within the ridges are different shapes. So those are just class characteristics. So for example, if you went and took your car to get new tires, you're going to get 4 the same tire. They're all going to be the same class, right? They're going to be the same size, same width, and all have the same tread elements. Let's say, to give you an example of a class difference, let's say you've got your full-size pickup truck, and then you have a compact car. They're going to have very different size tires, right? So those are different class tires completely, just solely based on the width of the tire. So that's what I look at first. I have to see, okay, do these class characteristics match up between the unknown and the known? And if they do, then I would take one step further and look for individual characteristics. But if they do not, then I could exclude the tire if the class was different.
Okay. And how many tire track comparisons have you done over the course of your career?
But the tire track examination was sunsetted a few years back, so I think I did a total of about 60 to 70 comparisons.
Okay. Have you ever testified in court regarding tire track comparisons?
Yes.
How many times?
It's only been probably 2 or 3 times now.
Okay. And have you, did you conduct a tire track comparison, in this case, the state of Florida versus Jose Soto-Escalera?
Yes.
Okay. I want to show, if we could publish state 62. We're looking at state 62 and then 63. Okay. Do you recognize those photos?
Yeah, so that's a copy of the photograph that I used to conduct my comparison.
Okay. So that's your unknowns, correct?
Correct, yes.
State 62 and 63.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm going to show you what has already been entered into evidence as states 1 through 6. You recognize those?
Okay, I'm gonna just look at my markings. Is that okay?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah.
On the outside of each of the packages, there's the lab number, the item number, and my initials. So inside would be the mat board containing the known tire impressions.
Okay, and are these tire impressions that were taken from a silver Dodge Ram?
I couldn't tell you where they were taken from. They were submitted to the laboratory.
Okay.
And that's all I can say.
So you get these tire impressions and then you compare it to the unknowns, is that correct?
Correct.
And describe in specific detail your comparison. I know you touched on it a few minutes ago, but if you can go ahead and describe in specific detail your comparison.
Sure. So as you can see, there's a scale in the photograph. So what I did was I tightened it. I get rid of basically all the extra gravel and grass that doesn't contain the impression. And then I adjusted it to life size. And then I actually printed it onto a piece of acetate, clear acetate. So you have a transparency type comparison. It was what's going to happen. So you have the unknown on the clear acetate. And what I did was I laid it over top the inked impressions on these mat boards. And so initially I have to look to see if class is in agreement, right? And in this case it was not. So it was a different size. The width was different. The known tire impressions were wider than the unknown impression.
Okay, meaning that the vehicle that left these impressions right here is excluded.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Is it a better way to say excluded than the vehicle that left these impressions did not leave those tire tracks?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
May Mr. Chapman be released from his subpoena at this time?
He may.
Any objection to releasing him? Thank you, Mr. Chapman. You're released from your subpoena. You're free to stay or leave as you wish.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
And the state may call its next witness or on an item of evidence.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would play the previously recorded testimony of witness Kayla Lim.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the testimony of a witness was previously taken by the attorneys in my presence in this courtroom on a previous date and preserved for purposes of this trial. We call this perpetuated testimony. This perpetuated testimony is about to be presented to you, and you should consider it just as you would live testimony, and you may proceed.
Your Honor, and during the played testimony, prior to playing it, the state would just move into evidence. State's exhibits 33, 34, and 35. They're the swabs from the passenger side of the Dodge truck, as well as state's exhibits 36 through 39, which are the photographs of where those swabs are taken, which will be detailed inside of the video.
Any objection?
No objection.
Those items will come into evidence at this time.
I have no idea how loud that volume is. Test the volume, we'll see how hot it is right now. Too loud.
The city would call Kayla Lim.
If you raise your right hand and face the clerk.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence that you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. And over this way, just watch your step. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could, please state your full name, spell your last name for the record.
My name is Kayla Lim. Last name is L-I-N-B.
How are you employed?
I work for the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office
How long have you worked with the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office?
for 12 years.
And if you could, what is your job title and employment duties with the Sheriff's Office?
I am currently the crime scene supervisor.
And what do your job duties entail as a crime scene supervisor?
I oversee the work of other investigators and our crime scene assistants to ensure that we're processing various crime scenes with the most proficient and professionalism that we can.
All right. And do you have any training and experience that allows you to be able to perform those duties?
I do.
And what is that?
I have 686 hours of crime scene training in the classroom. I have a bachelor's degree in criminalistics, and I also have 160 hours of fingerprint training as well.
Now, as far as this particular case that brings us here today, were you working for the Sheriff's Office back in August of 2018?
Yes, I was.
And what were your job duties at that time?
I was a crime scene investigator at that time, working general crime scene investigations.
And on August 25th, 2018, did you provide assistance to another crime scene investigator?
Yes, I did.
And who was that?
I assisted CSI Vasquez on the scene.
And did you also provide assistance to another crime scene investigator that also worked on this case?
I assisted my supervisor at the time, which was Donna Carmichael.
All right. And the assistance that you provided to Donna Carmichael, what did that entail?
I assisted her with processing a silver Dodge truck for DNA.
And where was the Dodge vehicle processed?
It was located in the sheriff's office parking lot.
Okay, when you say that you processed that vehicle, what exactly is it that you did?
I swabbed various areas on the passenger side for areas of possible DNA.
All right. And if you could, can you explain the process that you go through and how you swab for DNA?
So we use a sterile swab. So it's kind of like the Q-tips that you use to clean your ears or remove makeup from your eyes. It's in a sterile packaging. The package is opened while wearing gloves. I then use a sterile drop of water and put one drop onto the sterile tip. And then I swab the area of interest for several seconds. And then I place that swab back into the packaging, which then goes inside an envelope and is submitted to evidence.
And where was the truck located at within the sheriff's office?
It was located in the parking lot.
So what I would like to do is I'd like to show you what's been marked for identification as states exhibits 36, 37, 38, and 39. If you could take a look at these photographs and tell me if you recognize them.
Yes, I do.
How is it that you recognize those photographs?
These are photographs of the vehicle that I assisted with processing.
Is this the vehicle as it looked on that day, August 25th, 2018?
Yes, it is.
At this time, the state would move into evidence which would mark for identification, states exhibits 35 through 39.
No objection.
Goes on to come to evidence at this time. Now, you described this vehicle. The vehicle that you described, did you then go inside and swab different parts of the vehicle?
Yes, I did.
All right. And once you have collected the swab, what's the next process in the investigation?
They're sealed and submitted to the evidence unit until they're decided whether they're going to go to the lab for testing or not.
Okay, and how does that process work as far as you swab the vehicle? What do you do with the swab? How do you put it into evidence?
So it's sealed with evidence tape. An evidence voucher is created and submitted as the paper trail for the said evidence. And then our evidence unit takes the item in and stores it until it's ready for trial.
What I'd like to show you now has been marked for identification that states exhibits 33, 34, and 35. Do you recognize those exhibits?
Yes, I do.
How is it that you recognize those exhibits?
My handwriting is on the envelope, and I also have signed the evidence tape indicating that I sealed the swabs.
All right. Are these the swabs that you took back with CSI Carmichael back on August 25th of 2018 of the Dodge truck?
Yes, they are.
This time the state would move into evidence. It's marked for identification, states exhibits 35, 34, and 33.
No objection.
Presented will come into evidence at this time, but I don't All right, so what we have now on the screen is going to be State's Exhibit 36. And if you could, and you don't have to stand up just yet, what is State's Exhibit 36?
This was just a general photograph just showing what the vehicle was that we were processing.
Okay, so this is the Dodge truck that you processed on the 25th?
Yes, it is.
And where at the sheriff's office is this located?
It's located on our west side parking lot of the sheriff's office.
All right, so does the sheriff's office have primarily two main parking lots?
We do, and this is in the security area.
And if we could now go to the next State's Exhibit, which would be State's Exhibit 38. What are we looking at in this particular photograph?
It's a photograph of the front passenger area.
And is there any area in this photograph that you swabbed, in which you then collected it to send to the lab and tested?
Yes, I have.
Okay, where in this photograph did you swab this truck?
May I approach so I can point to it?
Yes, and if you would bring the corresponding exhibit with you.
Yeah, so for this picture, it was going to be this pull-up bar right here. And that's going to be Exhibit 34.
So State's Exhibit 34, you swabbed the pull-up bar?
The pull-up bar right here, yes.
And what is the process that you do to get the swab?
So again, we'll take the sterile Q-tip, as we call them, the cotton applicators. It takes 1 drop of sterile water. I use this clean set of gloves, and then I would do all sides of the handle and then place the swab back inside the packaging, which then gets placed inside an evidence envelope and then sealed and delivered to evidence.
And now I'd like to switch to State's Exhibit 37 for the record. What are we looking at in State's Exhibit 37?
This is a picture of the front passenger door.
And do you see a portion in this picture that you swabbed for DNA?
Yes, so this would represent me swabbing the door handle.
And is, what you pointed to on the screen, is that the black door handle?
Yes, it's the black door handle.
Okay, what State's Exhibit did you swab the black door handle with?
That's going to be Exhibit 35.
So State's Exhibit 35 is the swab for the passenger front door handle?
Yes.
And for the record now, I will switch to State's Exhibit 39. What portion of the vehicle are we looking at, State's Exhibit 39?
This is a photograph of the rear passenger area.
And do you see the area in this photograph that you also swabbed for DNA in this particular case?
Yes, for this I swabbed the pull-up bar in the rear passenger area.
And what is the State's Exhibit?
Oh, sorry, rear passenger door. Sorry, my bad. It's this one, sorry. It's this right here, to pull the door. Sorry, I apologize.
So as far as the State's Exhibit, what number are you holding?
33.
So State's Exhibit 33 would be a swab of where in this photograph?
This area right here, so the door pulls, so what you would use to pull the door shut.
So after you pulled the swabs in this case, you placed them all into evidence?
Yes, I did.
And then subsequently, are they then sent to the laboratory for analysis?
These 3 swabs are yes.
And outside of this, after you did this, did you have any additional involvement in this case?
I took a photograph of an item that was requested back in January of 2019. It was a carjack, but that was the only other involvement I had after this.
I don't have any other questions at this time, thank you. Prosecutor,
Thank you very much. Just very briefly. Do you still need me up here at all? Yes, sir. Oh, I'm right, like right here. You know, you can sit down. Thank you. Ma'am, you're aware that my client voluntarily brought his truck there to the sheriff's office?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and he voluntarily gave consent to search that vehicle?
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions.
any further questions from the state? No, Your Honor. All right, thank you. You may step down from the witness stand.
All right, and the state's next witness or item, State will call Christopher Newman.